Hey everyone, this is Joe. I am the digital astronomer. Thank you for tuning in my channel today. This week I want to dedicate this video to the town where I live, Metropolis, Illinois, which happens to be the official hometown of Superman. Now the reason I've done that is because I'm focusing in on a galaxy that I like to call the Superman galaxy. You'll see why here in just a couple of moments, but I also want to show you how this little symbol that we usually connect to Superman also offers us a rather neat message of hope. So before we look at the image of NGC 4535, or as I like to call it, the Superman galaxy, I'll tell you about another name that it's given here in a couple of moments, but I want to look at this little statue. This is a statue that is in the center of the town where I live, Metropolis, Illinois. It's our statue to Superman. As I mentioned earlier, we are the official hometown of Superman. Here he's wearing a mask that some city workers put on him. I guess Superman is just as affected by COVID-19 as all of us are. So in addition to kryptonite, I guess this is his second weakness. But what I want to call your attention to is the S on his chest. I don't know if you know this, but that does not stand for Superman. It's actually a Kryptonian symbol for hope, as well as the family crest for the House of El. Now, you'll remember Superman's name on Krypton was Kal-El, and he adopted this image and a symbol as a hope for a better tomorrow. And so, of course, and it just happens to serendipitously also look like an S, which could stand for Superman. So the reason I point that out is if I go over here, this galaxy looks like an S. And so that's why I call it the Superman galaxy. It sort of has that same S shape. And so let me tell you a little bit more about it. I'm going to go over to Stellarium real quick. The Superman galaxy is located in an area around the constellation Virgo. It's actually part of this Virgo supercluster. You notice as I zoom in, all of the little red ovals that begin to pop up. These are all galaxies. There are over 2,000 galaxies in this region of the sky known as the Virgo galaxy cluster. And so as we kind of zoom in, you'll see that it begins to pop up. And this is basically the framing that I have in my picture. I'll show it to you here in just a couple of moments. But as we kind of zoom in, you'll notice that up here, this is often called the lost galaxy of Copeland. And the reason for that is back in the 1950s, there was an amateur astronomer named Copeland, Leland Copeland, and he, as he looked at this image, at this particular object, noticed that it has sort of a hazy sort of appearance to it. It almost has a ghostly appearance, especially when it's looked at through just an eyepiece. And so he began to call it the Lost Galaxy. And so if you look up the Superman galaxy in a astronomy book, it will not appear. That's just what I call it because of the S and my connection to the city of Metropolis. But if we zoom in a little on the galaxy, on my picture of the galaxy here, you'll notice that it has a bar structure here in the center. This has a very clear bar structure with two very clear primary spiral arms. Now they sort of, break off out here at the ends, but here are the two primary spiral arms. Now, in 1990, let me tell you a little bit about this before I go to that. This galaxy was really first discovered by William Herschel back in 1785. Now, again, he wasn't able to tell that it was a galaxy. He looked at it and saw sort of a blob. Initially, they thought it was a nebulosity. But over time, they began to realize this was a separate galaxy. In 1999, the Hubble Space Telescope was able to observe a number of Cepheid variable stars And that allowed astronomers to calculate the distance from our planet to this particular galaxy to be 52.2 million light years away. Now, if we look around this picture a little bit, you'll notice there's some faint heat right here. There's sort of a faint fuzzy right here, down here, 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 and in various places around. Now, what these are actually very, very distant galaxies. They don't show up great in this particular image because of the size of the telescope, but larger telescopes would show that these are separate galaxies, very distant, much, much further away than that 52.2 million light years of this particular galaxy. Down here, we see NGC 4560, which is a lenticular galaxy. And so that's why we don't see any spiral arms. It doesn't have any spiral arms. And these are very interesting. I did look up, this is the very first galaxy where they were able to measure the size of its central black hole with an interferometer. So that's kind of a neat thing here about NGC 4560. Now, just very quickly to tell you a little bit about how I captured this picture. Next week, I'm going to do a longer video on how I processed it, but this was the original stacked image that I got from AstroPixel Processor. And if I go back to show you, I shot 49 subs. These were 3-minute long subs, along with 39 flats, 59 darks, 48 bias frames, and I stacked them in AstroPixel Processor. And you'll notice here, see this kind of white area over here? This is from the moon. The night that I was shooting it was a very, very bright, almost full moon. It was very close to being a full moon. And the reason I point that out is because normally you wouldn't be able to shoot galaxies or anything with any details in it on the night of a full moon. But I use an L Enhance light pollution filter from Optilong, and it really allows you to get away with this. And then through processing, and I'll show you next week how I process this out. But this is sort of the raw stack, and this is kind of the images. So if you want to learn more about that, tune in next week, and I'll show you exactly how I process and take this image, do a few more things with it here in AstroPixel Processor, and then come over to Photoshop and produce the final picture. Well, that's it for this week. And again, I want to encourage you to, if you enjoyed this video, take a moment to subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends. You'll do me a great favor if you do that. And then tune back in next week, and I'll show you a little bit more about the details of how I process this particular image. Thanks for tuning in today. Just a quick reminder, if you enjoyed this video, please help support me by clicking on thumbs up and share. Thank you.